My daughter mistakenly accused my brother of SA, so I physically confronted him and called the cops. It's been 3 years, and he is still holding a grudge against my daughter, refusing to reconcile or talk to her. Now he refuses to attend my daughter's 16th birthday party, breaking her heart. I don't know where else to turn anymore. It's been years, but the weight of everything hasn't lifted, neither for me nor for my daughter, and certainly not for my brother. I thought time might heal us, but here we are, and the rift feels as deep as ever. I've tried, believe me I have. But I don't think I can fix this alone. 3 years ago, my family was ripped apart in a way I never saw coming. My daughter, Lily, who was 13 at the time, accused my brother Jake of assaulting her. When she told me, it felt like my world stopped. She came into my room late one night, crying so hard I could barely understand her. At first, when she finally got the words out, I remember feeling a rush of anger, fear, and a fierce need to protect her. You hear about these things happening in other families, but when it's your child saying those words, you don't think logically. You just react. And I did. I confronted Jake the very next day at a family barbecue of all places. I dragged him into the kitchen. I was shaking so hard I could barely get the words out. He looked at me like I was speaking a foreign language. When I told him what Lily said, he froze. I still remember the exact look on his face, shock, confusion, then hurt. He said, "You don't actually believe this, do you?" But I did. In that moment, I believed every word Lily had said. My daughter wouldn't lie about something so serious. Would she? I slapped him. I didn't even think about it, I just did it. I told him to leave, to get out of our house and never come near Lily again. My parents were in the other room, and came running in, confused and panicked. But I didn't care about their questions. I told Jake I was calling the cops, and I did. I can't describe what those weeks were like after the police got involved. My parents were heartbroken, trying to wrap their heads around the idea that their son could have done something so horrible, while Jake swore up and down that he was innocent. The rest of the family didn't know what to believe, and me. I was just trying to hold myself together for Lily. She seemed so fragile and scared, and I thought I was doing the right thing by standing by her. But then everything started to fall apart. The investigation dragged on with no evidence, nothing to support Lily's claim. Jake had an alibi for the day she claimed it happened, and even though I wanted to believe her, little cracks started to show. One night about 6 months after it all began, Lily came to me sobbing. She couldn't even look me in the eye at first. Then she said, "Mom, I lied. I didn't understand at first. I thought she meant she was confused or that maybe she'd exaggerated something." But she kept going. She said Jake didn't do anything to her, that it was all made up. She'd been angry at him after a family fight. They'd argued about her attitude and her new friends. These older girls she'd been hanging out with told her to get back at him by saying something that would ruin him. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I wanted to scream at her, to demand why she would do something like this, but she was hysterical. She said she didn't think it would go this far, that she didn't realize how much damage it would cause. I didn't know whether to hold her or push her away. The police closed the case after that. Jake was officially cleared, but the damage was already done. He lost his job during the investigation. His boss didn't outright fire him, but suggested he resign. His reputation was in tatters, people talked, and no matter what the truth was, the stink of those accusations lingered. Jake didn't yell or scream when the truth came out. Part of me wanted him to unload all the anger and betrayal I knew he felt. Instead, he just looked at me, his face so calm it was terrifying, and said, "You believed her without even talking to me. You believed her." Then he walked out. Since then, it's like he's disappeared into a shell. He moved to a new apartment across town, and barely speaks to anyone in the family. He won't talk to Lily at all, and every time I try to call him, he reminds me that he's recording the conversation. I get it. I don't blame him for not trusting me anymore, but it still hurts. Lily has been struggling too. She lost her friends after everything came out. Kids at school bullied her for being a liar. She's been in therapy ever since, and while she's made progress, the guilt eats at her. She was just a kid when it happened, a kid who made a horrible mistake under bad influences, but she's still paying for it. We all are. I thought time would soften Jake's heart, that he'd eventually come around. But 3 years later he's as distant as ever, and I'm starting to lose hope. Lily's 16th birthday is coming up, and instead of being excited about this milestone, all she talks about is wanting to fix things with Jake. She says she doesn't care about the gifts or the party. She just wants her uncle back in her life. I can see the weight of it on her shoulders every day. It's like a shadow that follows her everywhere. She's always been a sensitive child, and I know what happened has changed her. She told me once that she has nightmares about the moment Jake found out the truth, that devastated look in his eyes. She's still haunted by the fact that her lie had such a profound impact on someone she loved. She asked me to help her write a letter to Jake. It wasn't an easy process. She was sobbing as she tried to find the words to apologize. In the end, she wrote about how much she missed him, how she regretted what she'd done, and how deeply sorry she was for the pain she caused. She wanted him to come to her birthday party so she could apologize in person. I wasn't sure if it was a good idea, but I also knew how much it meant to her. I decided to call Jake and explain how she felt. I thought if I could just get him to listen, he might soften a little, but the conversation didn't go as I'd hoped. He was polite but distant as always. It was clear from the start that he wasn't open to the idea. I tried to explain that Lily was just a child when it happened, that she'd been under bad influences and didn't fully understand the gravity of her actions. I even told him about how much she'd struggled since then, losing friends, getting bullied at school, and battling guilt every single day, but he didn't seem moved. He reminded me of everything he had lost because of what happened. He said he still felt like people looked at him with suspicion, even though he'd been cleared of any wrongdoing. I could hear the pain in his voice, even though he was trying to keep it controlled. I didn't know how to respond because in so many ways he's right. I did stand by Lily through the whole ordeal, and in doing so didn't give him the benefit of doubt. I reacted impulsively and believed the worst of him without even giving him a chance to defend himself. I've apologized for that countless times, but I know it doesn't undo the damage. After that call, I felt completely defeated. I had to tell Lily that her uncle wouldn't be coming to her party. And seeing the heartbreak on her face was almost too much to bear. She nodded and said she understood, but I could see tears welling up in her eyes. She's been carrying this guilt for so long, and I know she's desperate to make things right. The rest of our family has tried to help, but it hasn't made much of a difference. My parents have pleaded with Jake to let go of the past and rebuild their relationship, but he's made it clear that he wants nothing to do with Lily, or me for that matter. He's polite when he speaks with them, but there's a distance there that wasn't there before. Some relatives think he's being too harsh, that it's unfair to hold a grudge against a teenage girl for a mistake made under bad influences. But others say they understand why he's keeping his distance, that the hurt he experienced isn't something you can just rush off. I feel caught in the middle, torn between supporting my daughter and understanding my brother's need for boundaries. I've been trying to hold everything together, but it's exhausting. The guilt I feel for what happened is overwhelming at times. I acted out of love for my daughter, but in doing so destroyed my relationship with my brother.